Good morning. I am Day. DAA are my initials. I am in recovery from loss, grief, trauma, and addiction. In my years of active recovery, I have found that upon awakening, it is useful to affirm and devote myself to the me of my recovery, the one that ties all of the pieces together gently, lovingly, and sometimes even fiercely to face each day, one day at a time. With these daily affirmations, reflections, devotions, and meditations, walk with me on the recovery journey of hope, renewal, resilience, and self reflection. And remember that you are not alone. Fair use. Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. February 9. Getting the spiritual angle. How often do we sit in AA meetings and hear the speaker declare, "But I haven't yet got the spiritual angle"? Prior to this statement, he had described a miracle of transformation which had occurred in him, not only his release from alcohol, but a complete change in his whole attitude toward life and the living of it. It is apparent to nearly everyone else present that he has received a great gift, except that he doesn't seem to know it yet. We well know that this questioning individual will tell us 6 months or a year hence that he has found faith in God. The Language of the Heart, page 275. A spiritual experience can be the realization that a life which once seemed empty and devoid of meaning is now joyous and full. In my life today, daily prayer and meditation, coupled with living the 12 steps, has brought about an inner peace and feeling of belonging which was missing when I was drinking. Fair use. Courage to change one day at a time in Al Anon, February 9th. There was nothing simple about my life before I came to Al Anon. My work was highly stressful. My time was always short, and my attention was intensely focused on the alcoholic, but I didn't realize I was under a strain. During the early days in Al-Anon, I shifted my intense focus to the program. As my denial broke, I became aware that I was exhausted all the time. The topic at an Al-Anon meeting, "Keep it simple," was just what I needed to hear. I decided that the top priority for my unmanageable life was to recover from the effects of alcoholism. I had responsibilities and couldn't eliminate all the stress from my life, but I tried to simplify it wherever possible. In my case, this meant letting go of some social activities, temporarily switching to a lower paying but less stressful job, and leaving some household chores undone. It wasn't a permanent change, just a way to give myself the time I needed for my emotional and spiritual health. It was such a relief. By the time I returned to my normal schedule, I had a better grasp on keeping it simple, so I was able to handle it more serenely. Today's reminder: if I am overwhelmed, I may be trying to do too much. Today, I will try to keep it simple. The ability to simplify means to eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary may speak. Hans Hoffman. Fair use. Just for today, daily meditations for recovering addicts. February 9. Self acceptance. When we accept ourselves, we can accept others into our lives unconditionally, probably for the first time. IP number 19, self acceptance. From our earliest memories, many of us felt like we never belonged. No matter how big the gathering, we always felt apart from the crowd. We had a hard time fitting in. Deep down, we believed that if we really let others get to know us, they would reject us. Perhaps our addiction began to germinate in this climate of self centeredness. Many of us hid the pain of our alienation with an attitude of defiance. In effect, we told the world, "You don't need me." Well, I don't need any of you either. I've got my drugs and I can take care of myself. The further our addiction progressed, the higher the walls we built around ourselves. Those walls begin to fall when we start finding acceptance from other recovering addicts. With this acceptance from others, we begin to learn the important principle of self acceptance. And when we start to accept ourselves, we can allow others to take part in our lives without fear of rejection. Just for today, I am accepted in A. I fit in. Today it's safe to start letting others into my life. Fair use. Today, Emotions Anonymous, February 9th. Reflection for today. I have some secret goals, some things I long to do, and yet fear often holds me back. It can be fear of failure or fear of success. I keep saying I can't to myself. Saying or thinking I can't certainly limits me. That is the time of start saying I want to, and with my higher power's help, I can. Nothing is impossible with the help of my higher power. I can get all the strength I need, all the ability I need, and all the confidence I need. I can be free, happy, healthy, loving, and successful. I can be all I was created to be. Meditation for today. Thanks for all the help you give me when I ask and when I do not. Remember me never to take that help for granted. Oh, excuse me, I will back up and read this over. Thanks for all the help you give me when I ask and when I do not. Remind me never to take that help for granted. Today I will remember. I want to and I can. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. February 9. Authority figures. Authority figures scare us and we feel afraid when we need to talk to them. BRB, Big Red Book, 417. As children, we may have been terrified to voice a thought about anything to the authority figures in our lives. We learned to keep quiet because we usually didn't know what reaction we might get. As adults, we may still have found ourselves reacting to authority in the same manner, whether it was in a work environment or even a social group or organization that resembled a workplace, structure, or purpose. We may have tried to avoid authority figures, but they're everywhere. Being self employed didn't insulate us from these interactions either. Even in ACA, some of us place others in roles of authority where we find ourselves recreating our family structure. But recovery is where we can become aware of our reactions and practice new ways of acting. Before we talk to an authority figure, we can stop and perform a reality check. Are we imagining the worst? Is this person going to respond like my dysfunctional parent did years ago? If we are fearful, a very successful technique many of us use is to write a script and role play with a trusted friend. As part of this process, we give ourselves plenty of affirmations. Growth happens when we find that the more we actually do talk to authority figures, the more our confidence increases. At last, we begin to see ourselves as recovering adults, not fearful children. The affirmation reads, "On this day, I will use my recovery wisdom and strength as I interact with authority figures. I am no longer frozen by fear." You've just listened to DHB Recovery Network Daily Affirmations, Reflections, Devotions, and Meditations, read by Day. Share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be, one day at a time.